Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Coaster Spotlight. And today we have an awesome variety of Patreon submission coasters, ranging from Asian sci-fi, pirate-themed, and even a dark ride. So some awesome stuff to go over today, you guys, so stay tuned and let's check them out. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, be sure to smash that subscribe button. And if you enjoy these videos, feel free to leave a like. If you want to get your blueprints seen on the show and be a part of the community, be sure to follow the link down in the description below to join our Discord. It is open to the public. Anyone can join. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a Patreon special episode. We give our patrons here on the show spotlight priority. So if that's something you're interested in, you really want to get on the show quickly, you can skip ahead of the queue of 2,000 plus submissions and get straight featured at the beginning of the month by following the link down in the description below and become a patron. Any rank will get you priority, even just bronze. However, the higher the rank, the quicker the priority, and you'll be the first to be featured every month. Boom. So with that out of the way, let's dive into these awesome creations, starting with OSHI Oriental space program, created by one of our master builders, D-Dex and Golden Patron. Thank you so much for your support. And here he says, this creation is inspired by movies like Dune and Stargate. Just imagine space travel and technology was invented in the ancient Oriental culture, and you have the little story behind this coaster. It is a wild mix of Asian, Egyptian, sci-fi, and adventure design, and really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Honestly, I really needed more pieces. This isn't 100% perfect everywhere, but in order to make it available to everyone, I decided to stick with the 4K blueprint. Best experience at night. Hope you enjoy, and thanks for your amazing channel, Johnny. Oh, thank you for the kind words, and you are very welcome, my good friend. Also, thank you for your support once again. So he says best experience at night, so I guess that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna ride this one at nighttime. So kicking things off, let's take a look at the coaster and the ride stats. So it's a launch vector. Pretty good stats for Planko simulation. Good duration on this coaster at almost 2 minutes and 1,400 meters in length. So definitely pushing the limits here with a blueprint. Really good job. Let's delay no further and jump on this coaster, shall we? Wowee, really fun and smooth coaster design overall. I really enjoyed that front to back. And here's a better look at it at nighttime, as well as from the blueprint kind of footprint. So I can see all the different themes you're trying to push here. We have this kind of adventure temple, but it's mixed in with like Asian temple stuff. And then we have sci-fi. And then even, I guess you would consider the Red Rocks, let's pause this, I can't hear myself think. The Red Rocks are generally a Western vibe feel in this game. But yeah, what a good mix. I mean, at first glance, when I looked at it on the Steam Workshop, I saw Asian sci-fi. So you said here in the email, what'd you say here? Asian, Egyptian, sci-fi, adventure. Yeah, I can see a little bit of the adventure with the shrubbery and, you know, what you did with the foliage. In terms of Egyptian, I guess you could see that with the temple. Yeah, I could see the mix there. But, you know, with the Asian stuff, you generally see a lot of temples anyways. So I just say, for me, it feels heavily inspired by Asian sci-fi, which is actually like a really cool and interesting twist to things. So love the art style, love your sign. I mean, the boarding station comes together really nicely, like absolutely amazing. And you got these little ships, the little feetsies on them. Now, I can see what you were saying in your email. It's not perfect everywhere. I can feel the sparsicity. Let's make up some words. It's pretty sparse around here, and I can tell you were really struggling to get that part count. Maybe you deleted a thing over here, just trying to like get something over there to fulfill that coaster design, wrapping it back around. Otherwise, it would have been pretty jarring ending it off just like that. So it's still not a big deal because, oh, you have a lantern here that could be deleted. There's an extra piece. One more rock. It's not a big deal because whoever puts this into their park, they can easily kind of like, you know, sculpt around this, do their own thing. You put a few extra rocks in there and what have you. Not a big deal at all. Really good job on this one today. D-Dex, our master builder and golden patron, thank you so much for your support and great submission. Keep up the good work, my friend. All right, let's move on to the next coaster creation. Synchronicity, created by MS Carmen 173, one of our Discord advanced builders and golden patrons. Thank you so much for your support. And here he's, holy moly, says a lot. Howdy, Johnny. I started this blueprint after watching some Silverette videos. I ended up using some of the techniques I created working lighthouse. Now I created the Silverette quality lighthouse, but a lighthouse that we mere mortals can create. After creating the lighthouse, I slowly built a coaster and village with the focus on creating good views or vistas for both riders and non-riders. Somehow I ended up with an old school medieval Bavarian themed synchronized coaster. Welcome to Synchronicity, a synchronized coaster where two coasters race, twist, dance through a medieval port. Riders start their perilous journey by climbing down the lift hill simultaneously with another train. Both trains dive together and start a synchronized dance as they race through the port and village. Even when apart, these trains are moving in sync with each other. After completing the first half of the journey, riders climb to the double lift hill again in parallel with the snooze seat riders, which join them on the second half of their journey. Enjoy and let me know what you think. Alrighty, everybody, let's take a closer look at the ride stats. So starting off, we have an inverted two-seater boa, and is there any train swaps? Nope. And then there's a look at the rest of the results. Really good stats there, and a pretty good duration on this as well as length. So very fun stuff. There's a look at the rest of the results if you want to see them, and let's delay no further and ride this coaster. Alrighty, I let the coaster run through a few times just to make sure everything is in sync, but honestly I took a look and it doesn't seem like they're in sync, but let's just give it a watch and see. Okay, let's talk about it. I thought the coaster design was really fluid and smooth. It had a lot of great banking, twisting, and turning. And while it wasn't perfectly in sync with the other coaster, okay, what was I saying? While it wasn't perfectly in sync, it still felt interconnected. And as you can see, as we just sit back and watch it here, there's a lot of twisting and turning between the two coasters, crossover. So from like the ground perspective, it looks really intricate. I love that about this. Now, it is unfortunate that you didn't get the syncing quite right. As you can see, it gets to the top of the hill here and it starts to wait for the other coaster. Now, if it would have been in sync, it would have been a pretty long wait time for this coaster, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but you definitely need to increase the wait time at the top of the lift there. One thing to note to you guys is this is one coaster, so it's not two dual synchronized coasters. It's one coaster that's trying to simulate synchronicity with basically brake sections, block sections. So I did a tutorial on the Chief Beef one, and I did a tutorial on just how to synchronize a single coaster. This was long before there was dual synchronized coasters in the game, so I wanted to try to create a way, and it was inspired by Riddler Revenge, and he kind of figured out the method, and then I sort of refined it a little bit and try to get the timing down exact, and I found a way to get it down to the exact millisecond, and I have a tutorial somewhere on my channel. If you just type in like dual synchronized coasters, it'll come up. So maybe give that a watch and just study the timing a little bit next time, but I still think it worked out great. And if you're really struggling with this, whether this is a note to MS Carmen or anyone watching, if you're really struggling with this concept, it doesn't hurt to just make two stations, but there is a lot of benefits to the single train because it is one coaster, it's one station. You don't have to do double pathing and double queues, and it allows you to have three trains constantly loading and unloading. Well, this one's offloading right now and prepping. These two are going around, so that really has a lot of throughput on your guest interaction. But overall, the scenery is really interesting. It kind of felt like pirate, but then like fantasy, but also modern. It's just a real cool mishmash. I love it. Really solid blueprint, very compact and clean. So absolutely incredible job today on this one, MS Carmen. Keep up the good work, my friend, and thank you for your Patreon support. I really appreciate it. And with that said, let's go check out the next and final creation. Rats of Mayfair, created by Niet Maven, a Discord builder and golden patron. And here they say, hey Johnny, here's my second submission. This time I decided to make a spinning coaster set in Victoria, England with a bit of a post-apocalyptic twist. Designing a good coaster isn't my strongest ability in Planko, so I would love to hear your feedback. The coaster uses a custom soundtrack of which I'm not sure is copyrighted, so feel free to pick a spooky track if you prefer that. Kind regards, Niet Melvin. He says, say neat. So Niet Melvin. All right, well, would have been great to have that at the beginning, but now we get it. So Niet Melvin. Perfect. So getting on into things, everybody, here's a look at the coaster. We're dealing with a spinning wild mouse, maniac mouse, and here's a look at all the stats. Pretty mild overall, pretty good duration. Looks like we're dealing with a kind of spooky dark ride spinning mouse, which should be fun. So let's get right on into it, shall we? All right, so there it is. Oh, so interestingly enough, I actually couldn't get any of the music to work. You can see I picked a song. Oh, the volume was turned down. Oh, then now I know why. I didn't even realize you could adjust the volume on coasters. I'm so used to it being computer side. I don't know if that's something that's always been there. I've never, ever noticed that. So maybe that's new, or maybe I'm blind or never had to use it. So you had it turned down to 0, and I was trying to figure out why it wasn't working. The answer was right there the whole time. My bad. So I think it's an interesting and fun creation. You said you weren't the best at coaster design. Now, I honestly don't have a lot of experience with the mouse cart ride, and I haven't seen too many of these mouse cart rides, which hasn't allowed me to learn much about them so far. You know, one thing I can mention just based off of spinning coasters is just pay attention to the spin that you have on your coaster. I don't know if this one can lock or not like the spinning coaster does, but when it comes through here, it just whoosh. That definitely is nauseating and very jarring. It just whips them around. I mean, that one's not too bad. It's just that one. So it just has a little bit of a drastic, it's coming down with all that speed. So try not to go from one drastic curve into another, because you're just whipping them one way, whipping them another. It can be fun. That can work if it's done in subtle amounts. So in terms of other coaster feedback for you, you know, it feels very samey in terms of height and stuff. And generally with these spinning coasters and mouse coasters, you know, they give you these designs that are like zigzagging and shifting heights and then going down, kind of like a staircase of rows. So they're generally like that, but with the way you have it here, I feel like the tour, it goes so high and it's really wavy and bumpy, and then, you know, it's all over the place. I would just try to keep it a little bit more consistent in height. Work your way around, drop down a level, work your way around, drop down a level, work your way around, and then get your way back to the end. You know, just this big random lift here it didn't need to go that high to begin with. I think you could have ended it here and just kind of worked your mouse around the buildings as you went. So just stick with that like mouse coaster track design, building your way up, and then, you know, shifting layers all the way back down to the bottom, gradually getting you lower and lower, and just watch your spin rotations and give it lots and lots of testing. Also, in terms of your aesthetics, I think you have some really good buildings going here, and I feel like they weren't really utilized in the coaster experience. I feel like the coaster could have really hugged around this a little bit more, maybe gone inside at some point. We just kind of touched on the rooftops a little bit, and there wasn't a whole lot of interaction with these really beautiful mansions that you made. Boom. So there's my feedback to you. And I also noticed that Neat Melvin, oh, I must have deleted that at some point. Control Z? That's not working. Well, there was a building here which I featured in his last spotlight, so it looks like he's working on a park of some sort, and this was the feature from that park. So very cool stuff here today from Neat Melvin, as well as MS Carmen on the Synchronicity and D-Dex on OSHI. So three very distinct different styles from today's Patreon builders. And once again, thank you guys for your support, and to everyone else, if you want to support the show and help me out, it's very much appreciated, and I will try to give back by featuring you a guaranteed spotlight priority pass ahead of the queue at the first of every month. Boom. So there you have it, guys. Once again, be sure to check out our Discord. It is open to the public. Links is down in the description below. And that's going to do it for me here today in today's spotlight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.